Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Once again, Joe Nice coming to you as always live and direct on a January 15, 2021, January 15, 2021, January 152021. Today, Martin Luther King's birthday. Today was his date of birth. He would have been 92 years old today. It's important that we all remember his teachings, his example, his lessons of nonviolent direct action, and his willingness to fight for humanity, freedom, equality, and survival for not just Black people, but all people who have been marginalized and terrorized throughout the United States and around the world. I want to make sure that we understand that. And on Monday, I'll spend a lot more time speaking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his life and his legacy on Monday's edition of the Live and Direct Chat series. Today is his date of birth. On Monday, we observe his holiday. Everybody's off. Nobody's going to school. None of the mail moves, nothing like that. So we'll talk about him, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a bit more on Monday. So I want to spend a little bit of time speaking today about the latest announcement from President-elect Joe Biden, the stimulus plan. I'm sure you all saw or might have seen some information about that. I want to break all that down to you because everyone's going to say, hey, you know what? Yay, stimulus plan. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. All right, it's a $1.9 trillion package. 1.9 trillion with a T, $trillion package. It's a $1,400 checks. Now, all of us, about a month ago during the Georgia Senate races, it was, hey, $2,000 checks for everybody. Now it's, we'll make up that $2,000. We'll give you an extra $1,400 on the $600 you've already received. It's not what we were promised. We were promised $2,000 checks. We vote for you, we get $2,000 checks, not layaway. No. $2,000 checks. It's what we're supposed to be getting. Now, all of a sudden, it's $1,400. It's a $15 minimum wage, which is wholly inadequate, but it's certainly better than the $7.25 or $7.50 that people are getting for a minimum wage now. So that's good. $400 a week until September 21, 2021. $400 a week. That's not enough. We were getting $600 a week under the CARES Act. Well, all of a sudden, it is now $400. $3 billion for WIC. WIC is a federal program called Women, Infants, and Children. This program helps mothers who have recently had a baby or are about to have a baby with pre- and postpartum education, dietary instruction, nutrition education, healthcare referrals, and the ability to buy food. Really formula. $1 billion of nutrition help for United States territories. There is $130 billion to reopen schools, $350 billion to reopen their states. There's an eviction moratorium until September 21st. There is $5 billion for homelessness, $25 billion for rental relief, and $20 billion for public transit. And there is also money for earned income tax credits and child tax credits. Now, what did you not hear in everything I spoke about for the past 2.5 to 3 minutes? What about student loan deferral? Better yet, what about student loan forgiveness? Just cancel the whole debt. The plan also, this current stimulus plan also talks about expanding access to Medicare. What about giving everybody health care instead of expanding access? Because the last time I checked, about 10 years ago, the Affordable Care Act had a pillar. One of the 3 pillars of the Affordable Care Act was the Medicaid expansion, which gave more access for low-income earners to access health care. But that still left millions and millions of people uninsured and millions more underinsured. What about Medicare for all? What about giving everybody in the health care in the United States? What about forgiving everybody's student loan? It's not in the bill. It's not in the bill. It's not in the bill. Something else that's not in the bill is retroactive payments. None of this is retroactive money. And there's a whole lot of people that were without any sort of economic stimulus from the expiration of the CARES Act until about a week or two ago when they just passed the newest stimulus package. Some people didn't get anything. So some people got a $1,200 check, no state or federal unemployment, and then just got this other $600. Where are the retroactive payments? What happened? Where's the retroactive money? We should be getting money from the beginning of this pandemic up until now. and substantially more than $600 a week from the CARES Act, or $400 a week from this latest stimulus proposal, or the $300 a week that we're receiving now. Additionally, why are we only getting $2,000 checks? The federal minimum wage that Biden is proposing is a $15 minimum wage. $15 times 40 hours is $600. $600 times 52 weeks is $31,200. $31,200 divided by 12 is $2,600. So realistically, we should be getting $2,600 a month based on a $15 an hour minimum wage requirement and a 40-hour work week. If Biden is committed to doing a $15 an hour minimum wage, why are we only being given a $2,000 check? Why are our lawmakers and legislators only fighting for a $2,000 check? We should be fighting for a $2,600 check. And these checks, that monthly check, should be retroactive. And it should be retroactive not to the expiration of the CARES Act. It should be retroactive to the beginning of this pandemic, which is 10 months ago. Because there's a whole lot of people that have not been able to pay rent since not only the expiration of the CARES Act, but the beginning of this pandemic, which is March. And you've taken people's jobs away, you've taken people's livelihoods away, and then you've given them nothing to live on. And the worst part of all of this, actually, the worst part of all of this was probably back in September, maybe October. Nancy Pelosi had a $1.8 trillion stimulus bill that the White House was willing to accept. The White House said, hey, look, Nancy, here you go. And this was negotiated by Steve Mnuchin and Larry Kudlow, who were two of Trump's minions. He said, here's $1.8 trillion. $400 a week retroactive to the beginning of the pandemic. Actually, I think retroactive to the end of the CARES Act, which was July 31, $1,200 stimulus checks for everybody. And I think that proposal was going to expire about 2 weeks ago. It was going to expire, I think December 31st. Pelosi said, no, I don't want that. I want $2.2 trillion. Then she again, with all her master negotiator skills, says, hey, you know what? Okay, we'll do this. We'll do $600 a week, and we'll do $600 checks. We'll do $300 a week in addition to your state benefits for 10 or 11 weeks. And the only reason we got $600 is because Bernie Sanders was fighting for it. Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley, who is a Republican senator, were fighting for $600 checks. And they were actually fighting for $1,200 checks. And they were able to negotiate $600 checks. If they weren't willing to put their necks on the line and say, hey, yo, look, people need $1,200 checks, it's entirely possible that there would have been no checks and just unemployment benefit payments of $300 a week for realistically 10 or 11 weeks, and then whatever your state adds to it. Now, Biden comes in and says, hey, we're going to have bold action. And Nancy Pelosi says, this is a down payment on what we're going to do for the American people. And his bold action is only slightly better than what Steve Mnuchin and Larry Kudlow offered Nancy Pelosi at the end of September into October. This isn't bold action. This isn't anything. This is inadequate. To make matters worse, Donald Trump could have come up with this plan on his own without having to use Steve Mnuchin or Larry Kudlow. He could have said, hey, look, Nancy, here's $2 trillion. Here's $2 trillion. And Nancy Pelosi still wouldn't have taken it because she was more concerned about politics than actually helping American people. And that's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And on top of all of this, Joe Biden is the reason we have all these issues. Joe Biden is the architect of all of these neoliberal policies and all these austerity measures that have us in current day 2021 America. with all of the socioeconomic despair that pervades the United States. Joe Biden is the architect of all of that. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill. Joe Biden wrote the crack legislation. The crack bill of 1988 was put mandatory minimum prison sentences on everybody. Joe Biden made discharging medical bills and student loans by bankruptcy forbidden. So if you got a medical bill that you can't pay, you can't discharge it with bankruptcy. And you can't do that with student loans either. Joe Biden supported the repeal of Glass-Steagall, which created the financial crisis of 2008, made the banks bigger, and then when the banks got too big to fail, Obama bailed out the banks by kicking a whole bunch of people out of their houses. And then when he kicked all those people out of their houses, the same people that got stimulus money from the bank bailout, they also made money on the back end from all of the homes that they sold during foreclosure. Joe Biden wrote NAFTA, sent a whole bunch of good union-paying jobs overseas, increased wealth inequality, and completely destroyed labor unions. Joe Biden did all of these things. And the worst part about all of this is all Joe Biden has to do is be mediocre. And he's going to be viewed as a wildly popular president. He's going to be a mediocre. All he has to do is be mediocre or even be below average. And millions of Americans are going to be like, yes, he saved us. Joe Biden saved us. And that bothers me. Because the guy that started the fire, or at least contributed to starting this fire, shouldn't get credit for putting out the fire. I'm going to say that again. The guy who contributed to starting this fire, or in some cases actually started the fire, should not get credit for putting out the fire. And that's Joe Biden. America has 4 crises to deal with. We have a biological crisis, we have an economic crisis, we have a financial crisis, and we have a social crisis. And Joe Biden is going to be viewed as a hero because he somehow saved us from all of these crises simply by being mediocre, simply by being average. I want Joe Biden to be successful, but at the same time, I don't want him getting all the credit because of problems that he helped to create. And Joe Biden helped to create these problems. And all of a sudden, Joe Biden is going to be the man in charge to pull us out of all of this. So again, when you see that the mainstream media says, hey, you know what, this is a great stimulus plan. This is awesome. This is wonderful. This is amazing. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Because if the richest 1,000 people in the United States and the biggest banks in America can get $4.7 trillion, $4.7 trillion between the HEALS Act, the CARES Act, and the HEROES Act, the American people deserve more than $1.9 trillion. Way more. The American people deserve way more than $1.9 trillion. There's no health care in this for everybody, especially in the middle of a deadly pandemic. There's no student loan forgiveness when people haven't been able to make their student loan payments. None of that is in there. And if those aren't in a bill, a stimulus bill, or in the middle of a deadly pandemic, then what are we really talking about? What is he really doing? Who is he really helping? Jesus, my man, what's going on, Jesus? Carter saying Biden's swooping in like a hero. What a load of shit. I agree. He's no hero. And he's not your friend. I said all I wanted to say for today. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Please be safe. Take care.